At some point in your future, it's likely that you're going to have to borrow money, get a loan from a bank to cover a major expense, such as a house, a car, or some other event. So let's take a look at the process involved with getting a loan, paying a loan, and the cost of a loan. So the situation we have here is we have someone getting a loan of $15,000. They go to the bank, they take that out. The terms of the loan are that the interest rate is going to be 8.5% annually, compounded monthly, and payments are going to be made to pay back that loan. And the way that generally works is when you get your loan, at the end of the first month, you will make your first payment. In this case, they're paying $375. And we just want to take a look at how the payment and the balance and the interest for this loan work. So let's work out the calculations for a couple of months on paper, as we often do, and then we're going to revert to a spreadsheet to extend the calculation and take a look as to how long it actually takes to pay this loan off. So our opening balance is $15,000. 8.5% as indicated is the interest, and we're doing that. The interest is being charged on a month, so a 12th of the year. So to get the interest, we take our starting amount multiplied by our interest rate annually, multiplied by our time. And so if we do that, multiplied by 0.085 divided by 12, our interest for the first month is $106.25. And as indicated, at the end of the first month, we will make our first payment to repay the loan. And so that's $375. I just want you to note that the amount that you're paying back per month must always be more than your interest, because your payment has to cover the cost of the loan for the month, plus it also has to pay off some of the original $15,000. Remember, this loan isn't just going to cost you $15,000. It's going to be $15,000 you have to pay back, along with all of the interest that you accumulate until it's paid off. So in order to figure out what our balance remaining to be paid on the loan is at the end of the month, we'll take our $15,000, we'll add on the $106.25 for interest, and subtract our payment at the end of the month. And there's our balance at the end of the month. And so our balance has gone down a little bit from the beginning. Our closing balance becomes the opening balance for the next month. It's 8.5% interest for a 12th of the year. Again, let's just make sure we're comfortable with the calculation. We're going to take our balance for the start of the month, multiply by 8.5%, multiply by 1/12. There's our interest for the next month. It's down a little bit. The amount of interest for this month is down because our balance has decreased. Then we're going to do our payment at the end of the month. And then to get our closing balance, remember it's the opening balance plus the interest charged, subtract our payment. So opening balance plus interest, subtract monthly payment, closing balance is that. And let's just do one more line before looking at this via a spreadsheet. Take our opening amount, multiply by our interest rate, divided by 12. Our interest for this month, a little lower, $102.43. And our monthly payment. Remember, our monthly payment is paying off this interest, and the rest of the amount is being used to lower our opening balance. So opening balance plus interest minus payment, our closing balance at the end of 3 months is that number. So now let's set this calculation up on a spreadsheet. I've started the process here. I have my loan amount, I have my compounded monthly, my monthly payment, and my interest rate. And I have my chart set up as I did on paper. So to get our interest calculation in this cell, we have to take, as we said, our opening balance, which is in C14. We have to multiply by our interest rate in D14, and then multiply by our time in E14. And there's our interest as calculated. Our payment, that's the amount that we have up here in cell C6. So we'll just put C6. And our closing balance comes from opening balance plus interest charged minus payment. And you can see that number corresponds to what we had in our table. All right, let's just extend the table down for a few months. And our opening balance for month 2 is the same as our closing balance of the previous month, H14. And then from there, our formulas will be the same on each line. They'll just be updated for the current line that we're on. So I have filled my cells down, and again, you can check your table. These numbers are matching from previously. I'm then going to extend this down even further. I can see the number at the end of month 3 matches what I had on paper. So now what I want to do is I want to extend this down to see when my loan is paid off. So I'm down here after 11 months. That's our closing balance. Do we still have almost $12,000 more to pay? So let's pull this down. And I'm going to keep pulling it down until my closing balance on the bottom right there is 0. Getting close. All right, so $74.14 left to pay after 47 months. Just as we're about to hit the 4th year mark, the loan is going to be paid off somewhere in this area, okay? So after about 3 years and 11 months. In reality, what would happen after 11 months, you'd notice you have $74.14 to pay off. You'd probably just pay it off after 3 years and 11 months. So finally, let's look at the time value of money solver, the TVM solver on the graphing calculator, our TI-84, because it has that finance application. Let's just go to it, apps, finance, TVM solver, and we can enter the values of the variables we know into this to solve for one unknown variable. So the unknown variable I'm going to solve for is time. How long does it take to pay this loan off? Okay, and that's going to be our n variable, the number of payment periods. How many payment periods do we need to make in order to pay this off? We saw that it was 47 months on the spreadsheet, so let's confirm that with the TVM solver. So I'm going to leave the n blank because that's what I'm solving for. I'm going to fill in all the other variables. I is the interest rate, 8.5%. The PV is the principal value. This is your starting value of the loan, which is $15,000. And as you can see by the notes here, the way the PV button works on this calculator, if the principal is an amount owed, it's an amount you owe back, it's a loan, you're going to enter that $15,000 as a positive value. When you make a payment with this button, that's when you enter a negative, which is what our payment is. We are paying the loan off. We are paying $375, so we're going to enter that as a negative $375. Future value, well, we want the future value of this loan to be 0. We want it paid off. Payments per year, we're making 12 payments per year every month. Compounding per year is 12, so that's good. And our payment is being made at the end of the month. We have all of our variables set, so we're going to zoom up to our n, and we're going to solve, which is the green button on the enter button, alpha solve, and there you go, 47.2, let's say, 47.2 compounding periods, which is months. And that converts into just under 4 years as we saw in the spreadsheet. So finally, let's just take a look at the total amount of interest that was paid for this loan. As you saw in the spreadsheet, your interest is changing every month, and that interest charge is in addition to the $15,000, is what you have to pay back in addition to the $15,000 through the payments you make. So if we were making payments of $375 per month, and we made those payments, let's just round that to about 47 months. It was a little bit more than that, but 47 months, we made the payment of $375 for 47 months. If we find out what that multiplies to, so 47 times 375, means that we've paid $17,625 for this loan, which means that your total interest, the cost of borrowing the loan, is that value, $17,625, subtract our original $15,000. We had to pay an extra $2,625 to have this loan over the course of 4 years. Now finally, let's just look at the percentage of interest paid on this loan compared with the original amount. $2,625 in interest compared with an original borrowed amount of $15,000. If you work that out as a percent, wow, 17.5%. In other words, even though the loan was advertised as 8.5% compounded monthly, in effect, the percentage of interest you have paid compared with the original is 17.5%.